Hello and welcome to everyone for today's stream. We are here for ACC Round 9, final round of season 5. So, yep, we're excited to get it started, but unfortunately, we have some technical issues before starting the stream. The quali has actually already started, so we might miss part of it or maybe whole of quali, but stay tuned. We have to go through some issues here, so we'll figure them out. In the meantime, we can talk about what's happening, what's the situation in terms of pro class, am class, uh, overall standings as well. So in the pro class, uh, we have W Singh leading and possibly going to win series today. So exciting race for him coming up today for him. So unfortunately, Masoom dropped out a few races ago due to his personal issues, and that invited a very clear path for W Singh to just lead this championship with very comfortable margin. And Panda just doesn't have the pace to challenge him quite often, so we didn't see him challenge W Singh that often. We might expect the same thing today here as well. Meanwhile, in silver class, we have what do we have here? We have FIFA Kanak leading. Noob, who was actually previously leading this championship, has actually moved on to pro class. So now the current leader will be FIFA Kanak, who has been very consistent. I think he has a triple consecutive P2s in the last few races. So he's very consistent, solid debut for him in IRC. So looking very good from his side. Starboy slightly behind, following him, but maybe he can get past him. There's around 18 points difference between them, so unless Starboy pulls out some amazing performance around C, how he can overthrow Kanak as the leader of the silver class. Meanwhile, we have let's see what's happening with AM class here. In AM class, we have KC66 leading, surprisingly, because KC you wouldn't expect him to be AM class, but he is here. So KC is leading, and his Raja following behind MJK is slightly behind him. So yeah, I think it's pretty much clear for KC as well to lead and win the execution. So anyways, those are the leaders and positions for the current race and for the current championship, as well as we come to the conclusion of this championship. This is very exciting. Even though the positions of the championship seems pretty much stable and pretty much how it's going to finish at the end of this race, but despite that, we're looking forward to an exciting race because it's the end of the season. Everybody will be going balls out and just doing what they can do best and fight it out as aggressively as possible as well. And especially in a track like Kyalami, it's going to be even more so because there's a lot of overtaking opportunities. Turn 1, into turn 3, into turn 5. There's so many overtaking opportunities on this track. It's a very wonderful track. I personally do not rate it that much, but pretty much 90% of the drivers do. So yep, it's going to be a very exciting one. There's also very and we might see people losing it. So we'll have a lot of bunch of machines going to all the drivers. Some might be just want to get this season over with and get this race done. While some might be coming up with the same mentality, but different kind of approach where they're just going very aggressive in terms of how they're going to race. So yep, interesting to watch out. Let's see what's going to happen.
Hey folks, a lot going on in quali as I can see right now, and the track temperature for the weekend is through the roof. 45 degrees is what has been set up by our coordinators. No matter what setup you put on today, your tires are going to be burning within a lap or two. From what I can see, the drivers are actually taking it slow on the out lap because they do not want to heat up those tires. Everyone is really worried about the race because a single lap is pretty much taking them to the top of the window with regards to the optimum tire temperature. and right now it's a situation of, can you keep them alive for one lap, and then in a couple of moments time it's going to be the case of them keeping it alive for 45 minutes. So that's going to be quite interesting to see who's able to maintain it, who's going to be able to keep it smooth and consistent along. Yeah, that's something to keep an eye out for. So yeah, hey folks, this is Couple A6 alongside Koushik Tummala here, filling in for the finale of ACC. Lovely track, honestly. I cannot believe, Koushik, that it's not a track that you're a fan of, because every single driver loves it. It's a beautiful quality track. I think last time around we had an endurance race, if I'm not mistaken, in season 4. This is such a pleasure to drive.
I really like the corners, medium to high speed corners, but the big put off for me, especially at the curves. Like some curves are too awkward for me, with how they are like cambered in the middle as well. So I just don't really like it, especially with the GT cars. I don't know, maybe I can change my opinion with the different. In this game, these cars I just don't rate it that much. But I guess it's just personal opinion again.
So yeah, the GT cars definitely have that lower downforce, and that's going to be sliding around. It is definitely trickier on these cars, but still, it's got curves which are so flowing in some aspects. It's many of the corners it's a slight dabble of the brakes, and you're just turning into the corner. So that kind of gives a very interesting feel to the track. It's never a situation. It's not like a street circuit where it's all 90 degrees. Though the corner looks like that, it's just got a smooth radius in for many of those corners, like the one that you're seeing right now on screen. You've got those curves which are sweeping on some. You've got high angle curves. You've got a mix of all of these, and that's what really sets Kyalami apart. You've got that elevation change with turn 1 and the first sector going up, and then sector 2 onwards with the track going down. So it's like a roller coaster ride when you look at it. And there is that infamous curve of death, which is the second last corner, which is there. Something that they'll have to keep an eye on.
I actually quite like that one. I what I meant was the rounded high-rise curves. I don't know which corners those are exactly in. I don't know, they feel very awkward. Like you don't know how much to mount them, and sometimes you feel like you're losing traction on them, even though you mount them exactly like you did previously. But yeah, those things are a bit awkward for me, so that's what I don't like. So,
well, I can tell you this, that every single person hates that curve, the curve of death, if you will, because it's just unforgiving.
It reminds me of Brands Hatch, turn 9, I think, turn 9 very similar. Like it's a bit blind, can't really push the exit that much. And then there's like if you overstep the apex, it will just go into the sky. So, yep. So what are we looking here for? 45 minutes race. Any particular strategies or something like that?
Well, in an ideal condition of low track temps, we would have seen the pro drivers come out with low 41 for even a mid 40 lap. And I can't tell you what the situation is like with higher track temps, because higher track temps typically lead to slower lap times, and honestly, it can be anyone's game. Even though they may look good at quali, just because they scrub the tires a lot, they're probably going to suffer a lot during the race. So this is uncharted territory for many of the drivers. So, honestly, it's something that we would really like to talk about. do stay tuned, folks. Everyone's it's looking more of a podcast right now than an actual stream. But I can tell you that our folks are hard at work and trying to find some alternative to get to go live. But yeah, mid-season driver transfers, that's a first for this season, honestly, because some drivers have simply been a class apart, and it almost seems criminal to kind of keep them down where they are. So we had a couple of them from Amp to Silver and Silver to Pro, New being prime example, just pure consistency through and through, really fighting in there with the big boys, actually beating a couple of pro drivers as well. So it's just it's good to kind of recognize that this rifle position is important.
Yep. Also, one more thing I wanted to ask about what the future plans are for ACC. Like, is there any concrete plans laid out for season? Like calendar, big bits coming out or something like that?
So what we'll probably look at for next season is now what I can really see is our IRC boys really starting to spread the wings. They are like sort of Masoom and pretty much a good chunk of our IRC boys are actually jumping on to some of the other leagues, the more well-established leagues like SRO, like AOR and more, with the advent of trying their luck out in the big leagues and also the team events. Actually, it was great to see many of our drivers in Tier 2 and Tier 1 of AOR in the Endurance Cup, and it was so satisfying to see all of them in a couple of VCs having a great time through the weekend. And it's just so heartwarming to see that we are going above and beyond the cycle and really using all of the skills to good use. And really happy with the results that they had this season, and just goes to show that our boys are growing up.
So it's a shame because Masoom was looking very good for the championship as well, because WC we were really very very close. It's like a repeat of 2021 F1 championship. Two protagonists at the front and they're just miles inside of the events. So it was bound to be a very exciting season, but unfortunately Masoom had to drop out in the middle of the season due to personal reasons. So yep.
So what we were able to notice is that probably the next season, as we're almost underway, jumping into the session really soon, is that we're going to be positioning our calendar in and around some of the more major leagues, and our approach is going to be that, hey, we're going to be giving them that ample space and time to actually jump in and focus on those events, and IRC is always going to be there to kind of keep them warm and keep them geared up for the rest of the season. So we're kind of be moving into a more auxiliary league, if I may. It's not the ideal thing to say, with such a huge fan base right now with ACC, but it's just a general direction we're heading with, just so that we are putting them in a prime position so that they can really represent not only the community but also the nation, because their skills are really up to that par right now, and we are completely behind them with that.
But I think we've logged into the server now, so we might be seeing pretty soon. So stay tuned. Before that, as we told before, this is very good. Yep, as Kapil was saying, our boys are starting to venture out into a lot of other cities as well. Meanwhile, one thing I have to say is that the ACC in general is having a lot of sort of a recession in terms of its player base right now. A lot of people are jumping out of the games and sim racing in general. I think it's a throwback after the pandemic, and it's slowly started to affect the sim racing community in general. So
Yeah,
yep,
I mean, this is expected. It's not going to be the same fairy tale for the rest of time, and it's just one of those games. It's not a simcade like F1 or a chill ride kind of game like I said. Of course, you have to be on top of it. You really need to understand your setup and put in those hours. Every car is different in this game, and that's why people who are only dedicated and remain dedicated to the game it is what are going to be the ones who shine out on top and continue with that. So we are starting to see those more casual players drop out. That's why the attendance has also gone down a bit. But let's hope that next season we have that resurgence once again, if not for the entirety of the season, at least for the first few races.
yep, definitely.
Walk us through the grid, Timala, because
So we're live.
we are live, we are in the session, and the race is about to start in a minute.
Yep, I think players are setting out the final setup tweaking thing here. So as usual, we see Lovely Singh leading the pack. I think he got pole position, pretty much expected what we talking about previously. Vashida Panda slightly falling behind as expected, and then Deepak Raj in P3. Uh,
Interesting. That's
yep,
good.
interesting definitely because I think FIFA Kanak should have been there, but I guess FIFA Kanak has been sort of a Sunday type of guy. It's not been that good in terms of pure pace in one lap pace, but in terms of race pace and consistency in the race without making mistakes, he's been extremely good, like consistent three P2s consecutively. So that was very good, and it's propelled him to the lead of the Silver Class Championship. Meanwhile, we have who is it in third? I think that's Deepak Raj or someone might have disconnected. But anyways, yep, the grid is looking set. It's about 9 seconds to go. Yep, about 10 seconds to go. So let's see what's gonna happen here.
Yep, just about time for the race. Raja has had an amazing quali, if I may say so, behind Helium. In a prime position. But I've seen this quite a lot with him. His quali pace is great, but race is a different story. But we're just about underway for a very, very hot 45 minutes here at Kyalami. Thamala, why don't you take away from the start?
Yep, we're rounding out the final corner here. About to set up for the start of the race. About to go green flag situation. Everybody's preparing for the rolling start here. The green flag is about to wave right now around. Maybe a few seconds delay here. So let's see what's going to happen. Who's going to get the better start? Let's see. Both the Lambo and the Audi looking good, and it's green flag and sights away. Lights out and away we go. WC covering off versus the Panda here in the start. Deepak Raj looking very, very fascinating, and is trying to dive on the inside of versus the Panda. Tries to make contact, and he does make contact on the inside of versus the Panda. They are going side by side into turn 3. Let's see what's going to happen. Deepak just lifts his foot off the throttle and just holds back the position there. So pretty much expected. No casualties, and everybody's behaved as well. No major spin arounds in the back over there as well. So pretty much as we were in the starting grid. So establishing pulling off once again, and he's actually already got a sizable lead just after 4 corners. But anyways, that's to be expected, to be honest. But the other guys are very, very close. Deepak Raj is on pressure. Behind him is Helium. Is putting some pressure on Deepak Raj here. Yeah, FIFA Kanak is closing. Oh, it goes a bit wide there, and allows a leeway for Helium. Meanwhile, Helium breaks very late and closes up a lot of braking distance to Deepak Raj here. So these guys are very close on pace, and we have to expect them to fight it out throughout the race up until the end. We have another new addition as well for this race. We have Baba G, I think, sort of reserve driver joining into this race, or maybe he's championship contender, but I've not seen him for a lot of races. So I'm not sure about that, but he's definitely going to spice this race up a bit more. Meanwhile, we have in the farther position, we have Raja in P7, Shock in P8, Stomach Sword in P9, and we have Cannonade in P10. So, yep, as we were expecting, everybody's behaved very well. Big casualties in the first lap. We're already done with the first lap. It's gone by very fast. So I think this 45 minutes is gonna go around very fast. So we have to look out for all the action that's gonna come up very soon. We see difference in lines there between Deepak Raj and Helium. Helium gets a better exit. Meanwhile, Deepak Raj goes a bit wide into turn two. Deepak Raj losing a bit of time in the braking distance as well. He goes a bit wide on the exit there. So is bidding off some time to the Helium behind, so that's keeping Helium right on his toes. Yep. So this is almost like a 4-car train forming here. We have Shock, a sizable gap between him and Raja, so it's quite a bit behind. So he has to pick up some pace to get back onto this 4-car train, and then the Starbucks Road behind him as well.
Yeah, surprising thing is Casey being the lead in the AM class and Raja being in P2. There's quite a big gap between the two. Casey's down all the way in P12 in last position. While we do have this battle going on, while Raja is sticking right behind them, and Casey's just got all the traffic which he has to have a look at. I do know, as a matter of fact, that he was last minute getting the right setup for the race, so we wouldn't exactly say that he was fully primed and ready for action. Kind of shows that with his race time, but this is not what we would expect from the leader of the championship.
Yep, definitely. Casey needs to pick up some pace here. He has to get back because he has a possibility of losing the AM class, even though it might be a bit of a stretch. I'm not sure how the point system is exactly here, but there might be a possibility of him losing the championship here for AM class. So he needs to pick up some pace and show that consistency is shown in some of the races this season, but not without the mistakes like we saw in Spa race where he was just not able to even control the car. That's how bad it was in Spa. But yep, he has to show the opposite of what was shown there. Meanwhile, we see the guys same as we were expecting them. So I think they're trying to settle into a rhythm, trying to figure out their own race pace without making any mistakes, and then maybe a few laps into the race, and maybe we'll see some mistakes and some action happening. But these guys are still very, very close. Meanwhile, what's a gap between Davli Singh and Vaishali? But it's almost 2 seconds between them. So Davli Singh, as usual, showing a lot of pace there, and Deepak Raj is not that far behind. It's just 1 second, 1.5 seconds behind him. So yep, let's see what's gonna happen.
Yeah, very soon it's going to be a war of attrition. Right now, I can pretty much tell you that everyone's tires are up to temperature. Now, if you're smart and you know that it's going to be a long race, which it is in some respect, given the track temperature, you will not do everything in your power to avoid scrubbing your tires. Now, in this battle with 4 cars in it, you have to be very strategic in when you make the move. If you are always behind someone else or always looking to make a move, do a bit of drift because you either brake too late or brake at an awkward angle, you're going to be really screwing up your tires, which is going to hurt you quite soon. And with each passing lap, it's going to be a situation where you are starting to lose control of your car more and more often because those tires will be screaming to cool down, and naturally the person who would have maintained their tires that much better will slowly start to reap the benefits of it over the course of the race. That's something that we can definitely look out for to see who's got that setup right, because I can tell you that no matter how good it is, you will have to do some kind of lift or coast or some kind of management to ensure that it doesn't simply blow up over the course of the race.
Yep, definitely. Tire management is extremely important, especially on this track with the tire pressures all over the board, and so that comes back into the setup as well, figuring out the right setup for the tires. Because in some sectors it's actually very intensive on the tires, but in some sectors you can lose some of that temperature and tire pressure as well. So they need to be very careful in terms of managing those tire pressures, because even if you're slightly off the limit and slightly off the range, your pace will drop dramatically. So we see here Deepak Raj is found a good rhythm, as we can see on the screen. He's trying to pull off from Helium behind him, so he almost got like almost 7 tenths gap. But FIFA Kanak and Babaji are very close. FIFA Kanak doesn't seem to have the pace, so Babaji is closing up very rapidly on him. He's on the Honda. Meanwhile, FIFA Kanak is on the BMW. Babaji tries to make a move, but he can't quite pull it off on the inside. So FIFA Kanak sort of covers him off, and we see them going into turn 4, I think. But they're still very close. So Babaji is trying to maintain and put that pressure, not make any risky moves and make any stupid errors. But just trying to put the pressure. Oh, that's a bit too close to comfort there for FIFA Kanak, while Babaji closes up a lot on the entry of that corner, and FIFA Kanak makes the mistakes there. And Babaji tries to go on the inside, and he does go on the inside. FIFA Kanak just lets him by, because there's no point fighting too much here. They lose time to the guys in front, so it's a very good decision for FIFA Kanak, who's seeming to have lost some pace, especially compared to the beginning of the race. So now he has to find a rhythm once again, as Baba did, to claw back some of that race pace, and keep up with these guys as well. Because if he can't keep up with these guys, Raja is looking very, very close, and he may pounce very quickly. So let's see what's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually quite happy to see that FIFA Kanak did not defend that position too hard, because it would have resulted in a very awkward situation for both of them. That corner is deceptive on how much curb you can take. I think it's one of those corners that I think you mentioned you don't really like so much. So it's good to see that he's thinking of a little bit of a long game as well. They're still in the pack, which is the more important thing. They have not lost sight of the positions up ahead. Raja is closing in. You can see that Porsche right on the top of the screen right now. So he's also slowly joining into the fray. This battle is just heating up, boys. This is going to be a fun one.
Yep, definitely. We see Baba very close once again to FIFA Kanak. I think that's it. No, that's actually he's closing up to Helium. Sorry, because go with it. Sorry. So he's closing up to Helium. So Babaji seems to have better race pace than even Helium here. So maybe if he can get past Helium, he can sort of close that gap to Deepak Raj. Maybe even he can put some pressure on Deepak Raj as well, because that podium is not that far away from Babaji here. So it's going very good for Babaji right now in the beginning phase of this race. There's still almost 3 quarters left, but so far he's doing very, very good. You see Helium going a bit wide on the entry and mid corner, and Babaji is on the inside, and I think it's move done for him unless Helium can out drag him and try to cover him off. I think it's a done move. Babaji is on the outside for the next corner. Let's see what's going to happen here. And Babaji breaks very late, and Helium does as well. So they're going side by side into the corner. Babaji goes wide off the track a bit, but they're still side by side coming into this corner, and pretty much it's going to be Helium that covers him up, because there's no way people can go too wide into that very tricky right hand over there. So Babaji trying his best to take back that track position, but he just can't quite pull it off in the last sector. But now he's very close once again, so maybe he can try once again to put some pressure on Helium and make him do the same mistakes he did. And Babaji switches onto the inside. Oh, that's a bit of a late move from Babaji. He's doing all the maneuvers, moving a lot, and now it's a 3-point situation. What is happening here? We have FIFA Kanak now ahead of Babaji. Babaji, very risky maneuvers from him. He tried to go on the outside and then on the inside, and then he can't quite decide where he wants to position his car, and it caused quite a kerfuffle between them. And now FIFA Kanak completely gained from that position, I could say. So these guys once again very close, but the positions are switching rapidly every single corner and every single lap. Yep.
Absolutely, superb opportunistic driving there. You can see that Helium is really struggling to keep the car on track. He's sliding a lot, and is basically holding up the pack right now. Deepak Raj is literally sent in, and he's already 5 seconds up ahead, so he's just checked out. So now, because of the cork in the bottle, Helium is really spice things up. I think it was a very similar situation back when FIFA Kanak was behind Helium for the first time, and a similar situation arose, and Babaji was the one who took advantage that time around. But Helium, excellent defensive driving at the moment, and you can really see these two struggle to keep ahead. Just putting his car all in the right places and holding the line as and when required. But again, having said that, going into the next lap with these three under half a second behind, let's see how it pans out.
Yep, action is ramping up here in the middle of the race. Still half an hour left in the race, but the action seems to not go down. You see FIFA Connect doing very aggressive maneuvers, as we saw with Baba as well, and Helium goes very wide. It's a mistake from Helium, and FIFA Connect captures it perfectly and overtakes Helium there, and Helium loses position to Baba as well. So quite a costly mistake from Helium there, but he can still place himself behind these two cars here, and now Baba is looking quite interested on that position to overtake FIFA Kanak. So maybe he'll try some maneuvers going onto this corner. They're very close here. It's nothing to separate them. Almost you can lay bed sheet and not even separate them. And that's a very weird analogy, I know, but let's see what's gonna happen. It's very intense because in these scenarios you don't know quite exactly what to do, because if you're very cautious you might not get that position back, but if you're too aggressive you just end up making mistake or having contact with someone. So they have to be very attentive to every single input they're giving on this game. So this is a crunch time for them. They have to show their racing ability and show how efficient they are in terms of getting that position. And he closed up a lot. I was very confused. Babaji is closing a lot on the braking zones as well. Now he tries to go on the inside. That's very risky, but he backs off on the last minute, and then FIFA Connect pulls off onto the pit lane. I think he's trying to do his one and only pit stop. Meanwhile, Helium and Baba are still fighting. The side by side going into the main straight and onto the first corner. Let's see what's gonna happen. Helium tucks behind onto the slipstream of Baba here. Maybe he'll try to pull on the inside and put some pressure. Let's see what Baba does. Helium breaks very late and goes on the inside. Baba gives his pace. That's very clean racing between both of them. They're going side by side into turn 3. That's what's happened. Helium was on the inside, so it's pretty much his corner now. Or is it? No, it's not. Baba goes very wide. He tries to go around the outside, and now he has the inside for the next corner. Let's see what Helium does now as he tucks behind Babaji's slipstream once again. And now Babaji covers him off and he maintains the position. Very clean racing between both of them. Amazing.
Amazing indeed. I think FIFA Connect did the right thing. He's realized that there's just too much going on right now, and he's just going to focus on his own race. Let's see how that strategy pays off. Definitely going to be a situation where he's going to be nursing those tires for a little longer in the second stint. But regardless of the situation, he's going to be coming out in clean air, and that's going to be a situation for him until the rest of the pack pits. But right now, as we can see, oh, that's a great little dive bomb there from Starmax Lord, I believe. Yeah, that's sorry. I think that was a move by Aladdin. Yeah, that's a good move, and he moves up into P10.
Interesting thing about FIFA Kanak, like, because I don't think he has the pace, to be honest, unless the undercut is extremely powerful. I don't think he has the pace, because Baba and Helium were, at least Baba was very fast, much faster than FIFA Kanak. So unless, I guess it's better than not losing time battling with each other. But if Baba and Helium don't battle, maybe they'll have the better race pace, and maybe he just can't quite pull off the undercut in the strategy. But these guys are still battling, so they are still losing time. So this will be the pivotal point for all these three guys' races, and also for Deepak Raj as well, because he is quite comfortably in the last podium position, and if these guys keep on battling, and especially once FIFA
Yeah.
Connect joins back in the battle as well, it's pretty much a done deal for Deepak Raj.
No, that's the issue that I can see, having noticed their gaps to Deepak Raj over the last couple of laps. The gap has been undoubtedly increasing. It was 5 seconds, I think, 4 laps ago, and it's almost 9 seconds right now to Deepak Raj. So these two are really holding each other up right now, even tripping over each other. I know it's great to see on track, but they're not helping their cases for the rest of the race. You could argue that maybe Deepak Raj is out of this, and he's just got that lead right now because he seems to be very comfortable in P3. So time will tell on how FIFA Connect strategy is going to be panning out with these two.
Yep, and we see bit behind. We see Casey here at P7. I don't think that's his actual position because I think a couple of people pit, including FIFA Connect. So FIFA Connect and Raja actually pit. So he gained a few positions that way, but Casey still needs to pick up some pace. He has to close that gap to Shock and solidify his position as the AM class leader. Oh, we see a spin as we concentrate on Casey. We see a spin on with Cannonite there in the background. The Ferrari spinning out, coming onto the final corner. So that's very unfortunate for him. I think he was closing to Casey as well. So I don't know which way around it was. Maybe Cannonite lost the position to Casey, but he spun around just as he was coming to pits, and now he's going into the pits now. So he'll fulfill his mandatory pit stop, but he lost a chunk of time there.
It's a very interesting and lucky way to spin out. He's just outside the pit box, and you're saying, okay,
I think he might have reversed actually.
anyways, that's what I wanted to do. It's all about strategy. It was not a mistake, it was on purpose. You can probably argue with that. But if I may, I think Cannonite got really close to Casey, and he just noticed those pics on the rear bumper of Casey, and those memes. That's what really got him off guard. That livery which he's basically built out is something else, and honestly, if I were behind him, I would also be in awe of whatever he has to display. But KC66 crunches on, as do many of our drivers. Raja, meanwhile, has also pit. So he, as well as FIFA Kanak, have made their pit stop, and so has Helium. And Helium has come out just out in front of FIFA Kanak, and they are continuing the battle just as they did before the round of pit stops. So Babaji is the only one left right now, but Helium keeps the position post hill. So that's actually a wonderful overcut that Helium has done.
Yep, that's what I was talking about, because FIFA Kanak just didn't have the pace to keep up with these guys. So even if he wasn't battling, he wasn't battling with them, he was just not good fast enough. But let's see what's gonna happen here. FIFA Kanak is right behind Helium. Maybe he can just stick behind him, use him as a reference, and then build up his pace as well. As we see right here, he's closing up a lot in the braking distance, but that's to be expected pretty much. Whenever you use the car behind, you just use the car in front as a reference, and then you can gain a few meters, gain a few tenths here and there by looking at the car in front as well. So yep. The interesting thing will be what will happen with Baba. Is he fast enough to cover off these guys in the car, or will he actually come behind them? I don't think it'll be the case. I think Baba definitely has the pace here, especially between these two guys. We see Helium going on the inside already defending. He was quite a way behind, but he was defending already, and now FIFA Connect just bounces and gets the position. That was very awkward, I would say, because I don't think FIFA Connect was in a position to even attack, but then Helium got very defensive very early on. So I think maybe he was anticipating FIFA to just dive on the inside, and Helium didn't want anything to do with that. So he just covered up the inside, but sadly for him, he just went too wide, and now he lost the position. So Helium struggling a bit after the first stint. On to the second stint, he's struggling a bit, and maybe he can close some other lap time now that he's behind FIFA Connect.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, we
hearing it a lot from Helium. That first corner, he's very slow out of it. He keeps getting a very bad exit. It's got a very awkward line that he takes. He's been overtaken. He's been double overtaken in the past by both of them, and it's a kind of a similar situation right now with FIFA Connect. So that's kind of like his Achilles heel right now in Kyalami, and it's proving to be very costly because he's again back behind FIFA Kanak and he's gotta do all that hard work once again.
yep, we see Cannonade here spinning out. So unfortunate for him, and I think he's lapped already. So even though he's completed his pit stop, he's quite a way behind these guys. He's spun around again in turn 3. So very unfortunate race for him so far. But still a bit of way to go. So almost 23 minutes left. So almost half the race left yet. So things might still unravel for him, as we saw especially in the Laguna Seca race, where people were looking comfortable in P1, P2, P3. Everywhere you see, everybody was looking comfortable, and then people just started spinning out, making mistakes a lot here and there. So this track, even though it's a bit wider than Laguna Seca, bit more conservative in terms of its spacing, mistakes could still happen, as we see with FIFA Connect. Just right as I was saying, so FIFA Connect, massive mistake on the exit of turn 4, and now he has to continue to position the Helium though, so that may be a costly mistake for him. So yeah, as I was saying, everybody could struggle, everybody could get into a situation, and you just have to be consistent and be able to optimize and capitalize on others' mistake. But this is quite unlike what FIFA Connect is, because the FIFA Connect, I pretty much never saw mistakes happening. Even though he was slow, relatively speaking, he was never making mistakes. He was just consistent right there. He let everybody do their own race and spin out. He was just sweeping through and getting those positions. But this race, he is showing that a bit of that fighter spirit. He wants to gain those positions just on pure pace. So this is quite a different race we're seeing here with FIFA Kanak. And meanwhile, we see Baba G still didn't yet to complete his mandatory pit stop. So Deepak Raj and Baba G stay in the same position, still yet to complete the pit stop. Meanwhile, I think both Dhavali Singh and Vashita Panda both completed the pit stop. So they're now in P3 and P4 respectively.
Yeah. What I'm able to notice from here is that any mistake that you make is going to doubly hurt you, because firstly you've just lost traction and you're going to be losing time on that lap, but you're also going to be picking up so much extra heat that you're going to have to cool that tire off over the next couple of laps. So a single mistake is going to not only cost you that lap but probably the next 2 laps as well, and that's probably going to be something that drivers have to be really cognizant about. But what I can see from now is that okay, Deepak Raj is finally pit, but Babaji is staying out. Now I'm not sure if Babaji's strategy is going to be working out. Okay, he pits as well, so it's going to be interesting to see where he comes out of, because he's going to be the one with the coolest tires. Everyone's already on temp or over temp right now, and this is going to be that critical point in the race where everything is going to pile up once again. You're going to have that lovely trio back on the road for the last 20 minutes of the race. So, Hamilton?
Yep, definitely. You see FIFA Kanak here, still behind Helium. I think he lost a bit of pace as well. He stopped behind almost 1.1 seconds. So he's not too far away, but he can still claw back the time. But I think he's just trying to take it easy. I think he saw that mistake from him as a wake up point, and tried to control his pace a bit and control his tires as well. And as you were saying, Deepak Raj will now come out with a bit of a cold tires, under pressure tires. Now he has to slowly build the pace back and get that speed back, get those reference points set out, get your braking points right.
Babaji is out.
Yep, Babaji is
in front by a healthy margin, if I may say so. He's got 2-second lead right now. So the overcut is the way to go in Kyalami. And with the tires which are nice and cozy right now, if at least for a lap, he's going to be in a prime position to probably pull away, but we will see. But right now, advantage Babaji.
Yep, definitely. We see FIFA kind of closing a bit on the backside there. So he's closed almost 4 to 5 10. So FIFA Connect is definitely faster right now. Helium is just struggling. So maybe he can get past Helium. As we see, Helium goes a bit wide as well. And if FIFA can just get past Helium here, he can actually maybe close up that gap to Baba and put some pressure on Baba as well. But that's still a bit far away. Meanwhile, we see Raja is quite a bit behind. Shock is quite a bit behind. And Karen is behind as well. What happened to Casey? Oh, he's in P2. He's still not picked yet.
Yep, he just wants to hang out with the big boys right now. He's in between P1 and P2, and he's just like, you know what? I want to hang out with the big boys for a while.
That's a massive pace difference. It's almost 4 seconds of lap time difference between Casey and Worship the Panda as the lap times pop up at the end of the finish line there. So I think it's just
they're fighting for position right now, so it's not a situation where Casey has to move away from him.
Yep,
and
definitely.
knowing the character that he is, he might actually do something funky to actually hold Worship the Panda.
Yep.
This love triangle, I hope, will reunite very soon. It's not so fun to see them so far apart, but we've got little under 18 minutes to go, and Babaji is still got a bit of a gap, but I'm just waiting for some act of God to happen to bring all of these together, just so that I have some content that all is well in.
Yep, I think FIFA Connect is about to put in that. He's very close. Just lost a bit of time in that section, particularly. I don't know what happened, but he lost a bit of time there. But Helium once again going wide. We see the same mistakes happening every lap for Helium, but FIFA Connect just can't quite capitalize on his mistakes there. So Helium I think his front pressures are wonky, so can't quite keep up with the fronts, and then it just understeering him every single apex. But yeah, we see the race leader here, WC, quite comfortably in the lead as we expected. He's gonna win this championship. So very comfortable final race for him. We see versus the Panda in P2, and Deepak Raj is quite a bit behind these two guys, especially. So almost like 10 seconds gap between each of the podium contenders, podium positions.
For all Deepak Raj is just sipping a martini inside the car right now. He's happy with P3 and he doesn't need to do anything more to keep that position. He's got the right setup. His car is on pace, faster than Babaji behind. And he's just going to be sailing on to the end. But as you can see on that standing sheet, 3 cars inches apart from each other. This battle is going to come alive once again.
FIFA Connect closed up a lot once again into the braking zone of turn 1. Maybe Baba made a mistake or something might have happened there, because that's a lot of lost time for Baba, and he goes very wide onto the grass. He goes wide and he spins out. Oh my god, this is very unexpected. That's very unfortunate for Baba there. He was looking quite good, but then now he made a mistake. It is very unfortunate. But we see FIFA Connect still trying to put the pressure on Helium. He goes around the outside of Helium, and Helium leaves him the space, but he can't quite pull it off now. Helium squeezes him onto the outside. FIFA Connect just has to yield the position because that's very risky. And now FIFA Connect puts up behind him, so maybe he'll try to dive it down the inside here. Maybe you can see something of that, so similar to that. No, he patient. Helium goes wide.
Switchback. Oh, what a move! He's going side by side with
still side by side.
Who's got the grunt out of the corner? These are both top speed heavy cars. He's going to come down to the braking zone side by side into the right hand.
If goes around the outside, maybe no. Helium keeps it in the inside and outbreaks FIFA Connect there, and now he's got this singular line into that right hand. So excellent clean racing from both of these once again, but that lap was very unfortunate for Baba. I don't know what exactly happened, because first of all he lost a lot of time. He has to concede that lap time, and now he fell into this group of these 2 cars, and I think that put extra pressure on him, and then he just went onto the grass and just can't quite keep it on the track. So that's very unfortunate for Baba. But we see once again into turn 1, Helium goes wide. The same story once again. FIFA Connect goes on the outside, and trying to put some pressure on Helium here, trying to do the same moves, and Helium goes wide once again as I keep saying it. And yeah, he's on the inside now, so he has to give some space. It's what's gonna happen. This corner is almost impossible to go around the outside. Yep, he just can't pull it off. It's very high radius corner. You need to have ridiculous amount of mechanical grip and aero grip to pull off and around the outside and move on to that corner. So not possible for FIFA Connect there, but still, we'll just stick behind and we'll be hoping for a better opportunity as the lap progresses.
Yeah, I have a theory on why Babaji did what he did. I think he was trying to cool off his tires, so he went on the grass just to do a little bit of a cheeky move, and he got burnt in the process. Meanwhile, these two, it honestly looks like a love story between these two. The third wheel is finally gone. How these guys are driving off into the distance, very close to each other. In the simmering heat of South Africa, it has basically boiled in their brains into thinking that this is a love story, and this is what we see with 12 and a half minutes or a little over 20, under 13 minutes to go in the final race. And honestly, I couldn't have hoped for anything better as a finale for this season.
You see, W. Sorry for that. You see, W saying here, lapping Cannonade, I think so. I think Cannonade is the last contender in this race. That's unfortunate for him. A few spins here, and it just isn't up to pace to keep up with the guys in front. So, unfortunately, he's going to be the last finisher. But other guys, Casey still is yet to pit. I don't think there's a pit window, right?
There isn't a pit window. He's making full use of that. He's currently going to be coming out behind Raja for sure, and probably Babaji as well. The issue with Babaji's spin is, though Raja was like 8 to 9 seconds behind, he just lost so much time that Babaji is actually behind Raja right now, and that is something that he will definitely not be happy about, and probably try a little hard to get back that position. So
I don't think he's aware of that. So once he goes into the pits and comes back, he'll be surprised seeing Baba there maybe. So maybe you'll see a 3-car battle between them, but we never know. Meanwhile, we see Helium still ahead of FIFA Connect. So FIFA Connect still aiming to get that opportunity, that single opportunity, capitalize on, but he can't quite pull it off yet. Helium once again with brilliant defending skills. Even though he seems to be lacking a bit of pace, he's still defending very good. And they're still stuck together, very much like a glue attached to a paper here. So,
this drive reminds me exactly of the Imola race that happened last weekend, where Helium was pretty much leading the entire way and Tanish was the attacker, and that was also in an Aston Martin. So he's just he's in the right vehicle at the right time, and this is just a story to kind of unwind. Helium's trying to get the badge of the defensive boy with his shield as wide as possible in the battlefield, and so far it's paid off. There's been a couple of tussles, but he's so far kept it on top. And FIFA Kanak, I'm not sure what's going on in his mind, but keeping
that's a bit of a drift for FIFA Connect there. I think Helium went wide and that put FIFA Connect off, and he has to a bit of a rear end slide from FIFA Connect. Yeah, FIFA Connect has not been a particular throughout the races I've seen him. He was very tentative in terms of the attack. So this race is proving to be quite different for him. So I think he's still trying to take it cautious and just be aware of his mistakes. As we saw right there, he made one more mistake, I think a few laps before as well. So I think he's trying to be extra cautious and just trying to solidify his consistency more than anything. Just put all his money on that consistency and make it do the work for him. But yeah, he definitely has the pace. As you can see, he just closes in every single corner. He's closing in maximum amount of time. So I think it could have been a different story if he was ahead of Helium, but now he's just can't quite get past the defensive skills of Helium.
It's not over yet. You never know when he'll break or if he'll break. History has told us that Helium is not one of those characters who does break. So FIFA Connect has to put in that extra effort to just slam that BMW in one of those corners and make it stick. But the story still has, I believe, one more leg to play as we, go into the last 8 minutes of the season.
Yep.
Raja just
One more
relaxing.
thing I was about to tell was the delta difference once again between Raja and the guys in front, Helium and FIFA Connect. Almost a 2 seconds delta difference. So Raja is actually closing up. If these guys continue to battle and sort of put pressure on each other and going wide every single corner, even though they don't battle directly, they'll still be losing a lot of lap time. And now Raja is closing to the battle, so they have to be very aware.
Indeed. It's can be a very sneaky move that he'll do. But these kind of moves from FIFA Connect is going to be really setting them up to slow each other down. But will Helium yield and say that, hey, I'm going to be coming back to you a little later, or going to go dive around the inside? He actually goes on the grass to try to stay side by side with FIFA Connect. These not giving an inch away, but FIFA Connect is simply pushing through and finally gets the position on Helium. Now, whether he'll be able to keep it on track is a different story. But what I can tell you is Raja has arrived in the scene. He's just under a second. So these two have slowed each other so much that they've lost a second and a half to Raja in the last lap alone. Raja right now is flying, but now having met this lovely couple, he's actually going to have to put his car in the right position because neither of them are going to be giving an inch, and it's going to be a very interesting battle to see who makes it out. But FIFA Connect, having said that, goes very deep, and Helium says, thank you very much, I'm going to lead for a little while longer, why don't you stay behind and watch me, Bob?
Yep. FIFA Connect once again crumbling a bit under pressure. He definitely has the pace. He has to just keep his head cool. Just do the same lines as he was doing with Helium, where he was maintaining a good lap time. So he just doesn't have to yield that much pressure. Helium will do some aggressive offensive maneuvers, but I don't think there's something to be hold of. As we see Casey and Deepak Raj having a tussle, whereas Casey has not pit yet, but I think it's pretty much a smooth sailing overtake there for Deepak Raj. So Casey pulls into the pits there, and Deepak Raj reclaims his podium position. So let's see what's going to happen where Casey comes out. I think he's going to come out quite a bit behind Raja and Babaji as well. But these two guys are still close to each other. They've been giving us action throughout this race, and they're still close to each other as we come to the last leg of the race here. Almost 5 minutes left in the race. So FIFA Connect, he has the pace. He can't quite get past. Whenever he does get past, he can't quite keep it in the lead of Helium. So that's been the story throughout this race. So let's see what's going to happen in this final 5 minutes.
KBD, if you don't mind, if we can go on board Raja and just see the action unfolding right in front of us, because I think it'll be interesting sight to see what Raja has to go through, because you've got two huge wide cars in a very hot track, which is not too wide, if I may say so. With a little under 5 minutes to go, he's finally caught up to this pack after having now watched for a couple of laps, and now in this beautiful little machine, he has to kind of slide his way through these two cars. How is he going to be able to do that? I really want to have a look, but as of right now, I'm looking at a very difficult prospect.
Yep. Another interesting thing to say is what happened to Babaji's pace. He was quite a bit faster than maybe even FIFA Connect here, but now he just seems to struggle. The second stint just did not work out for Baba. I mean, at the beginning of the stint, he was quite fast. Then once he made that small mistake and got into the group, and then had to make a big mistake, I just can't quite recover. He was right behind Raja when he came back onto the track, but now he just is almost 9 seconds behind this group. So something must have happened to him. Maybe he got damaged or maybe just lacking some pace. So yeah, very unfortunate for his race.
I think it could be that that spin lit up his tires to a point where he could not cool it down in these harsh conditions. So either he's cooling or driving a little slower to make sure that they don't fall off the cliff. But at this point in time, with that gap keeping steady, that's not looking too good for him. Having said that, as
Oh,
back and a smash into FIFA Connect. The love between them is too strong, and we just saw some 18 plus action going
oh,
on.
and then Helium goes aggressive as well.
Sending it back, returning the favor, saying that you're not the only one who can be aggressive in this relationship. I have just as much right, and fighting for his place in this epic duel at the end of the season. Raja is probably just rubbing his hands together right now because he just has to wait for another lap or two for them to just take each other out and have
He
them.
needs to wait for the divorce. Needs to wait for the divorce between these two couples.
Oh, he's losing it.
Oh, no. Oh my god.
Dear commentator has jinxed them, and the divorce is official. Helium walks away with all of it, and FIFA Connect gets nothing. Unfortunate for him, he really was on the back of him. It was a very long and drawn out battle between the two, as if they were on court, and the proceedings are finally returned as not guilty for one of the parties. But it is what it is. You have to finish the race. If, you don't get points for keeping it on track with the 2 minutes to go, and such is the hard story for FIFA Connect. He's lost out 3 positions in all of this. Both Babaji and Shrock have made their way through. It's a very, very disappointing tale for him. But hey, it is what it is. In the harsh life of ACC.
We see Casey here almost about to get lapped from W Singh. He goes onto the grass, he just gives way to W Singh there. So, yep, let's see what's going to happen between FIFA Connect and Casey, because since FIFA Connect's spun out, he might have some really, really bad pressure. So maybe he's going to need lap time, just like Babaji did with once he spun as well. So maybe Casey has some chance here, maybe it doesn't. Let's see what's going to happen. But there's only 1.5 minutes left, so I don't think some much significance will be attended to for this situation. So yep, W Singh quite comfortably in the lead. It's been dominating as usual. The pattern was what we expected. So W Singh in the lead was the Panda in P2, quite a bit behind him, and then Deepak Raj quite a bit behind these two guys as well. So the podium contenders pretty much set, pretty much no mistakes from them throughout the day. So well deserved from all of them. It's just their pure pace that differentiated their positions. But apart from them, we have Helium in P4 that has substantially benefited from that mistake from Kanak, and then Raja kept it cool, kept it clean throughout this race, and did what FIFA Kanak is supposed to do from his pattern. But FIFA Kanak crumbled a bit, but he has capitalized on it very well. So good for him. We see W Singh, I think it's the last lap of the race, so it's gonna come to this final few corners, and once he's done with it, because yep, it's gonna done. The clock is gonna go to 0 minutes, and he's gonna complete the race here. So this is the final lap of the race. So congratulations to W Singh. Oh, I think I have to keep the comment to discuss a bit close until he rounds out the final corner, and now I can say that he dominated the race, and congratulations to him. And he won the race here in the final round of Season 5 ACC. And congratulations for the championship as well for W Singh, as we see KC finishes as well right behind him. No positions gained for him. Varshit the Panda rounds out the final corner. He comes to finish in P2. I think P2 in the final standings as well. So congratulations to him. We see Deepak Raj is quite a bit behind them. So maybe it's going to take a bit of time for him to finish. See Cannonade here, the final finisher of this race. Unfortunate for him, but he's going to be the P10 finisher instead. But he's going to get points as well. But maybe not exactly the position he was aiming for. The Canadian finishes in P10 already. We see Deepak Raj rounding out onto the straight, finishing in the final podium position. So congratulations to him as well. Yep, and the other guys are going to take a bit of time to finish it. But Raja here is very, very close to Helium. It's not done yet. I think he's trying to push it the final few corners to maybe get that position, get that P4, best of the rest position, solidify his race as well. Helium goes a bit wide, but I think it's too little too late for Raja here. Helium successfully defends from Raja and finishes in P4, and right behind him is Raja in P5. So that's very exciting race finish from both of these guys. Uh, I see Babaji here. Unfortunate race for him, but still P6, not such a bad position based on the spin he had previously. So stock here, very solid position. Not much gain, not much loss. So P7 finish for him. We have FIFA Kanak. Uh, FIFA Kanak is actually P8, even though it shows P7. So FIFA Kanak finishes in P8. So very unfortunate race. What could have been? I think he could have easily fought for that P4, but a lot of mistakes, a lot of inconsistencies in this race pushed him to this P8 position. And yep, that's it. Those are the top 10 finishes in this race. And Aladdin and Starmax not quite couldn't manage to finish this race. I think maybe connection issues or maybe they've disconnected. But yep, they have not managed to finish this race. But yep, those are the top 10 standings here. So congratulations to all the class winners and podium finishes in this race as well. And we're going to move quickly to the podium interviews soon. Maybe you can take over a couple here.
Oh yeah, massive congratulations to Davlish. I'll definitely congratulate him once again in a second. Honestly, a classy drive from him. I would say my driver of the day. Just what let me just define it with an iron fist. That's not the saying, but that's what is a thought that comes to mind. A fantastic defensive drive from him through and through to keep that position right till the end. It was a very silent race for many others. Babaji finally did get that position on one of the two drivers, not in the way he wanted, but it's still better than nothing. But hey, it's that is racing for you here in ACC. The condition just got the better of them, and that inconsistency is just inexperience in such treacherous conditions, and that's why we had so many mistakes in the heat of the moment, literally. So we have all of our winners and finishers of the various classes with us today. I'll probably start with Raja. Raja, are you with us? If you can hear me and you can speak, let me know. If not, you can move on to FIFA Kanak. Are you with us, mate?
Yeah.
How was your race, mate? I mean, it was honestly, my heart goes out to you. There was so much going on in the race, and just what, probably 5 minutes to go. That crucial error. Walk us through everything that happened to you during this final race.
Yeah, I didn't like qualify well. I think I was behind an AM driver.
Mm-hmm.
So like I had a really bad quali, couldn't put a lap in. And the race, well, I was just stuck a bit, like always fighting with Baba and Helium. I tried to quit early, but it didn't work. And yeah, I just uh, was like so close to Helium that I like lost out my downforce and it's a tricky corner with like I had really old tires because I just pitted the earliest
Mm-hmm.
and like yeah, I just gave up. The car just gave up there and just spent.
If I may ask, like, what was your situation? Do you think that you would have been able to maintain that pace with Helium through to the end, or was the car just giving up on you at that stage of the race?
Yeah, I think I had the pace. Like BMW does really good here, but it was just like I every time I got close to him in the corners, there's too much dirty air, and I can't really make my through that. And also like the track is not that big, especially in the sector 2. So like we can't go side by side in sector 2. I was losing a lot of time in there.
Well, an unfortunate way to end the season, but regardless of what has been, congratulations on winning the silver championship. On based on points, I believe you are on top. So congratulations for the consistent performance through the season, and I think you're fully deserving of that title. So congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Right, so moving on, I think we can move on to Raja. If you're with us, let me know. We can continue the conversation. But I think I'll move on to Casey. Yeah, mate.
Hello.
Hello, sir. How did it go for the final race? I think you had an interesting strategy of just staying out all to the end. Did you forget that this was ACC and not F1? And were you expecting a safety car at some point?
I didn't forget, but I think ACC forgot it was ACC because at the start of the race, I think I was seventh or eighth behind Baba, and I just got a lag somehow, and I ended up in P12. So I thought, well, I should do the alternate strategy and go long. I had it fueled till the end of the race anyway, so I just did it. Yeah, I mean, there wasn't much to lose, so
So you're saying the game put you in P12 after quali.
y-
You didn't actually
no.
qualify
Oh
that.
no! I did qualify up in sixth or seventh, and then during the start, in the first corner, there was suddenly a lag. Somebody collided with somebody, and I thought I went into it, but suddenly the game just put me back in the P12 position over there, and it was like this the weirdest. Like it was similar to F1, how it does lags or handles lags,
That's
basically like that.
very, very unfortunate indeed.
So
Uh,
at that point, it was just like whatever. I could do the other strategy, go long and pit at the end. So did that.
hmm. But it is what it is. But I think other than that, there was not much to really talk about in your race. You just hung out with the big boys for a good portion, but not much else, I believe, on that side of the picture.
Yeah, a little bit of flirting, yeah.
Good stuff.
And that's all.
Well, I have to check, but correct me if I'm wrong. I believe you've also won the AM Class Championship. I think you
Yes, I have. I
well,
think.
congratulations on that. The sexy Porsche makes it to the top step in AM Class, and that's a fantastic sight to see. Congratulations.
Yes, finally. Thank you so much. Feels good.
Alrighty. Moving on, let's jump into the scene with our actual podium finishers for this race. Deepak Raj, are you with us?
Yeah, look up this.
What's up, mate? Were you having a couple of drinks while driving because it was a very, very smooth sailing race for you through and through? Walk us through it.
Yeah, it was. But first off, I would like to thank the coordinators for raising awareness about global warming. Because the track was so hot. It's like 46 ambient. I don't know why they thought that, but really good job. And yeah, so it was just managing the tire temps. Of course, like after that first 2 or 3 laps, I guess there was absolutely no pressure. Helium fell behind, and Panda just broke when I was just in my no man's land, just doing my own thing.
I mean, what did you do to set the car up right? I mean, if I'm presuming if you were on your normal pressures, you would have overheated. So, what did you do differently to have that pace throughout the race?
Nothing. I just opened up the brake ducts, compensated the pressure for that, and just uh, slightly avoided the temptation to push all the time through some corners. As you know, like some corners they demand a lot of tire scrubbing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just making sure that I wasn't just going mad push all the laps and just avoiding the temptation to do it.
Well, it paid off to you in grand fashion. I think you finished over 20-25 seconds again ahead of the pack. So congratulations to you and a well deserved P3 for the last race of the season.
Thank you.
Moving on to P2, and I would say the man who's always been the first contender throughout the season, Washi the Panda. Walk us through your final race of the season, mate.
Uh, Probably one of the most boring races of the whole season. Other than the contact in turn one with Deepak, I think he missed the apex
It was
by a
kind of a
lot.
deliberate attempt.
Oh, okay. You tried to miss the apex. Okay, got it. I think other than that, the race was pretty dull. I was in the first 2-3 laps. I was like, okay, I can maybe stay within the 5-second gap with the leash, but then his performance was supreme. He just kept piling on. Uh, after he was more than 10 seconds away, I just kind of lost hope. So I was just driving to get P2. That's it. Nothing more.
So what kind of goes on in your mind in these kind of races? There's nothing happening. There's no car around you for extended periods of time. Like, do you start listening to some music, or what do you do to keep yourself engaged for the entirety of the race?
In the past 3-4 races, I've been it's been very unfortunate that like my colleagues from work or clients start calling me. So in the past couple of races, I've taken calls. This one, I just avoided them. I was just practicing.
Well, a valiant effort to finish out in P2 overall in season 5. I know you put up a good fight, but it's good to see that kind of consistency that you brought to the picture throughout the season. So again, congratulations on finishing P2 on the championship.
Thank you.
And finally, without further ado, moving on to our drivers champion for season 5 of ACC, W Singh. Are you with us, mate?
Hi Kapil, yeah, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing is the real question, my friend.
Yeah, I'm good as well, thank you.
Walk us through this race and probably the entire season. I'm pretty sure it was a bit of a roller coaster ride, at least in the beginning with Masoom and things kind of flattening out after that. But
Yeah, definitely. So the first 3 races were pretty exciting. We had a good competition, especially in the Silverstone race. We were pretty neck to neck throughout the entire race. But after that, Masoom just sort of stopped racing with us, and since then it's just been pretty straightforward since then.
Mm-hmm. One thing I have to give to you, as in, I love your spirit. As in, it doesn't matter what kind of a situation is it, what competitors are there on the grid. You still made a point to follow through throughout the season. Did you ever have a feeling that, hey, maybe it's not worth racing? I already won the championship, and let's just take a chill pill and see how the rest of the grid reacts and carries on the season without you? Or do you really love that feeling of being on track regardless of who's out there beside you?
The former, I would say. Yeah, I just like to race. That's all. Not really much to add on that. Yeah.
That is amazing. Do love that spirit, and that's exactly what that we need from time to time. To keeping that that villain enthusiasm on track. But an absolutely dominant performance, I would say, from the time Masoom left the season. I don't think there was too many scenarios where, or any, if I may, just on scenarios where we were pushed to the edge. It's been smooth sailing throughout, and just shows what kind of a stamp and authority that you put on the community as a whole, which is lovely. Do you have so I think probably the question that I would like to ask you is, with the season over, what are your next plans? What are the other competitions and leagues that you, and along with some of the other members from the community or otherwise, are planning to do next?
So we have the official SRO esports championship going on. With Masoom, I'm also taking part. So there are monthly races going on. So I'll be having another race this month. Next month. And I'm also participating in the real race, which is the official Lamborghini esports championship. So I have the races on this weekend as well.
Oh, do you stream those by any chance? We'd love to kind of cheer you on as
Not really gotten into the streaming scene till yet. Yeah,
Well,
sort of been
we
having some issues with my PC, so not really having plans on streaming anytime soon right now.
That's unfortunate, but if there is an official stream, do let us know because we'll definitely be cheering you on.
Definitely, yeah, definitely.
Well, there you have it, folks. Your top contenders for season 5 and your championship, Dalli Singh, in his good old Lamborghini, finishing out on the top step as usual. It's been a lovely season through and through with a lot of movements going on in and around the driver championship, I would say, in terms of their classes. So a lot of new faces coming into the scene, and the community staying as strong as ever. So I guess this is it from my side and from Koushik Tummala's side as well. It's been a pleasure having you join us on this journey, and we hope to see you real soon. So until then, take care and stay safe.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Are we off?
I don't know. I'm gonna assume you're off, but
We are in the stream.